Yeah, yeah. Sorry we got cut off. Technical difficulty. Somebody tried to call me and it paused us. So, but
Mm.
so going back to my question, right? So when this was happening to you, what was going through your head? How was you feeling?
Um, there was
It.
like a
uh,
lot of depression, and
I'm sorry. Speak up.
I
I didn't
was,
hear you. I didn't hear you.
there was a lot of depression, and I kept wondering why he was doing it, and I kept like asking myself like if I was going to tell anybody, what would happen, or if I did tell anybody, would like anything change?
And did you know he was doing that to your brother, or
No,
no? You didn't have an idea. And now that you know that this was happening to your brother, how do you feel?
I feel bad because he was younger than me, and like he was like it wasn't even his fault. It was mostly my dad's. So I felt more bad for him.
Well, you know it wasn't your fault either. So I just want you to know that. To be honest, you no father should be doing that. We're us. We're created to be protectors of the house, not to damage it. You know. So I don't want you to think that was your fault. It's not. How do you feel now around men in general? Like going to school, boys, um, the new stepfather. How do you feel around these guys? Do you feel a little anxious, nervous, scared, something,
Um,
or it's just okay, normal?
it's more like okay, normal, but sometimes I like try to make sure like that I'm safe around them.
And how do you do that?
Um, I mostly focus on like if I know them for like amount of time. And if I like don't know them, then sometimes I would like get to know them to see if they're really a good person or bad.
I mean, and you're taking therapy now, right?
I just finished therapy.
Okay. And how do you feel therapy helped you?
Um, I feel like it helped me a lot and like helped me express and like talk more about my situation, and it made me less shy and more brave to like speak out.
I mean, I'm so sorry that this had to happen to you, but to be honest with you, I mean, you're gonna if you follow your path of what therapy taught you, and don't have full distrust in men, but like how you said, trying to find out if they're good peoples and stuff like that, you're gonna be an incredible woman. Okay. So here's some questions for your mommy, and you could jump in on the questions if if you feel like it. So my first question for you, Doris, is before you were pregnant with the with Jaylani, that's your first child, but I believe, right?
Yeah.
There had to be some red flags. Did you not see them at all?
To be honest, no. There,
No.
no.
Okay. So everything was kind of like good
It felt
before the
like,
first baby.
yeah, like it was like a Romeo and Juliet type of, just sneaking off and seeing each other, or at
Okay.
least that's how it felt in the beginning.
And then So when did the first red flag show? It had to be after Jelani's birth, right?
It was actually when I found out that I was pregnant, like way on in my pregnancy. So I didn't know that I was pregnant.
Which one?
Um,
That was with Jelani's pregnancy or the
Honest
son?
pregnancy. I was
Okay.
like 5 months pregnant, going on 6 months.
And do you remember what that red flag was?
Um, the first flag was when I had found out that he was Honduran and his age wasn't his real age.
Okay. Okay. So let's fast forward, right? The kids are with the father now. And the only way you can see the kids now is because he's telling you how to sleep with him, right?
Yeah.
What was did you not see any other options to see your kids other than sleeping with him?
Um, I tried to do the public places, but being that I'm trying from zero to pick up everything, pick up the pieces and get my stuff together, plus working, there was times where I wasn't able to take them to Chuck E. Cheese or Go Bananas or, you know, public meetings because when we would meet, he would expect me to pay for everything.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling to get on the bus to get to them, like at times I couldn't even afford it. So I would tell him, like, let me just see them for a couple minutes at your parents' house, like I'll, stay in the sala or, just one designated place for me to be with them for a little bit and then I'll just leave, because their parents they just didn't like me. So it was kind of uncomfortable to go over there knowing that I left out of there for a reason. And it was kind of hard for me to sometimes meet him in a public place.
So and you didn't have your own place to have the kids or like somewhere where you were staying at?
So the places that I moved to, because I was bouncing from place to place because
Yeah.
sometimes I couldn't make ends meet. Um, there was, I wouldn't want to let him know where I was moving to. So because I didn't tell him my address or who I was living with, or
Uh-huh.
because I did have roommates, um, he wouldn't let me take them with me. So it was like, I have the kids, and either you're gonna do it my way or no way.
Okay. And you did not decide to go to the police or go through the court system to try to get some type of visitation rights. And why is that?
Um, because I didn't have the money for the lawyers, and like I was saying, I'm just trying to survive and make sure that
Mhm.
my kids are okay.
Yeah.
um yeah, I didn't think that that was a possible route because I'm literally counting change just to try to make it to them.
Mhm.
And he has a big family, he has a lot of support. um Not to say that I don't have support from my family, but it was really embarrassing to go through that after they told me just leave that situation, and me like a dumbass just run back to the situation time and time again. So it was kind of like, a puppy just with his tail stuck between his legs, like, damn, I can't even run to them because I don't want them in my business and to use that against me, you know. So I just went along with the punches by myself.
And now, do you think that you could have gone to the court system or the police?
In a way, yeah. Um, I decided that I wanted to put a stop to it after I tried to kill myself. Like at that point, I just felt helpless. I felt alone. Um, you know, I'm like, I'm going through this. I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to win my kids back. Um, it got to a point where after, I went to the treatments that I had to go through, I just told myself like maybe this is God. Like if I didn't die when I was, like I was aiming for it. My purpose is just to keep fighting for my kids. And I realized that I was being selfish, and knowing that I didn't care anymore and I was going to leave them behind without thinking about it. So being, like I went through the therapy, I went through the sessions, and I just came to the realization that I was so freaking, selfish. And that gave me the fire, like that stage where it just get mad. That's what I went through. It was like a light that ignited my fire, you know. So I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna give it all I got." This is all I have, my children. Let me fight for them, and not give up, because this is the reason why I'm still here. And ever since, I've been fighting for them.
Okay. So I'm gonna put you in a scenario, right? You're talking to a friend of yours. I'm sorry about if this is tough to talk about. Okay? You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put you in a room scenario. You're with a friend of yours, right? She's telling you that her kids are with the father. Um, she's having a hard time seeing the kids, and every time she does see the kids, the father voluntarily rapes her. Can't be completely raped because she isn't technically fully stopping, correct? Would you tell her to go to the police?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So what I'm trying to get to is, why didn't you go to the police?
Because I didn't want to lose my kids.
But but you do know now you was never going to lose your kids,
I was just
right?
scared. That
You,
thought,
it was fear.
the thought of like him using everything against me, and making it seem like I was a harm to my kids. And I mean, they gave him temporary custody, so it was like my word just floating in the air. Like I didn't even get a chance to fight.
But
I
let's get this correct. That temporary custody was given to him only in the fact because you didn't show up to court because you didn't know
yeah,
you had the court.
yeah,
If you would have showed up, it would have been a completely different thing because most of these states favor the
the
female.
mother, yeah.
Yes, the
I
mother.
didn't even get a chance to fight.
Yeah, yeah. See, I know. I'm not saying that you did. I know, I understand. That's why I'm correcting that. You didn't. It's not because you didn't. It's because you didn't know and you didn't show up. That's why.
Mhm.
Other than that, you probably would have. But as of now, I'm talking about now, not then, but now, that you're not gonna lose your kids because you go to the police or anything. I just don't want anybody in your situation to be still fearful to not go to law enforcement if they're in a situation similar to yours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's way different now than my mentality was back then. I was just
Okay.
lost. I didn't love myself enough. I didn't, it took me a journey.
And it's understandable. I mean, you was extremely young with the first baby. You know, did you graduate high school?
Yeah. I was taking my son with me to complete my courses to get enough credits, and I did get my diploma.
And at what age did you get that diploma?
I was 18.
See, so and it was a tough road. So it's like, yeah, I mean, you're gonna be a little bit, naive about it and stuff like that because you're not growing like normal average teenagers who are able to socialize and do everything in school because you have to go through a different path. So
Yeah, it was hard. I
it's
lost a lot of friends to that.
yeah,
I was the
I
only one that had a baby in sophomore year, and
yeah,
then to have another one in senior year. Like, I just didn't want to be a statistic. I
yeah.
wanted to show my kids that if I had both of them in high school and I was able to graduate, then nothing can stop them.
Hmm.
Because I wanted to prove to them that, I can do it. And if I can do it, they can too.
Okay. So going back to when you're visiting your kids at the father's house, right? And you're dating somebody, you decided to date somebody. You thought that you was well enough to start dating somebody at the time,
Yeah.
right? Why? Well, not why. I understand why because you meant well. But what did you think was going to happen or what his reaction was going to be when you told him what was happening when you was going over to the father's house? Like, how did you
Um,
think that was going to come out? Did you really play that out in your head? If I tell him he's going to react like this, like,
um, I didn't really. I
think
mean, I
about
thought of it, but I didn't. Like, I couldn't carry that
it.
with me.
Yeah.
It's like carrying a cross. Like, you have that burden with you, and you're like, you just want to come clean. You feel nasty. You feel, used and abused. It's like I was like, I can't lie to this man.
Hmm.
He's helping me, get on my feet and provide me with a roof over my head. At least so I'm not bouncing from house to house. And um, I just didn't want to carry that.
So
So I'm
you
like,
didn't think that telling him was risking it all?
there was a possibility, but I just
I don't think there was a possibility not. That's like that's a tough thing for another man to hear, you know, and
but I
just
felt like he didn't deserve
overall.
that. And I'm not that type of woman. So I was like, okay, well, I'm woman enough to admit my partake, but this is a situation. You don't deserve this. I don't
Mhm,
deserve this. It's not my fault. And I decided that I wanted to, like, be honest about the
mhm.
situation. And it is a huge magnitude of, like, how is he gonna react. But I just, when I did tell him, it got ugly.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was like seeing what I ran from. You know how they say Guatemala para Guatepeor. You know,
mhm,
I was like, oh no.
yeah,
But the
I
thing is,
mean,
like, after I told him and I seen how he reacted, I'm like, I probably dodged a bullet.
yeah, I mean,
I
kind
don't
of in
have
a
no ties
way,
with him. I'm not married to him. There's
yeah,
nothing,
but
so it was easier for me to up and go versus, having children and,
yeah,
everything. That's all
but
you
I
need.
mean, it's just sad that you had to go through what you had to go through, and after telling him, still, you know what I'm saying? Like that's intolerable. But you telling him, hey, I'm kind of sleeping with this person, or I'm being raped by this person, or whatever, however way you told it to him, that outcome, like, what did you think was gonna come out of that? That's what I'm trying to get. Like, like I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I'm gonna get stabbed, or I'm gonna get shot, or I'm gonna get punched in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not putting myself if I'm in if I'm in a situation that happens, but I'm not voluntarily gonna do that and just and you kind of voluntarily put yourself in danger by telling him that. That's what I'm trying. Like, you meant well, but it was a bad decision.
He he never gave me that inclination that he was aggressive, or more to say in the beginning, like, again, the pattern of
Yeah,
Prince Charming. And they make you feel beautiful, they make you feel like you're the only one. And I kind of, like, I didn't see him being aggressive at all, because he used to always treat me like a princess until
mhm.
that incident.
Well, have you ever heard of the fight or flight?
Yeah.
So even though we don't, us people men and women don't show certain characteristics, right? But and this is with men, when you break that ego, you are putting that person in a fight or flight. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not a gambling guy. I'm not rolling dice on that. So I know, like I said, I know what you meant. You meant well to do that. You was trying to clean everything up, be honest with him, come forthful, let him know this is not me. But what? How did you think he was gonna take that? Like he. I mean, I'm assuming you broke him, and you didn't mean to, but that's what happened, because that was his reaction. You know. So I just you know as when I was listening to the podcast, uh, as you was telling the story, there was just a lot of things that you meant well, but they were pretty bad decisions. You know, um, and I have to acknowledge this. You know, have you learned anything from some of your bad decisions? Like, if you could go back in time, would you have told that guy that you was being in a forced relation with your baby father? Would you, going back in time, would you have just toughed it out with the kids being with you and not let the kids go to the father's house and live with them? Um, would you have not gotten pregnant at 15 years old? You know what I'm saying? Maybe just waited a little longer, or maybe had the baby. She's here, beautiful, and got rid of him sooner and not have the second. I mean, there's so many decisions. If you could turn back time, would you have changed some of these decisions?
Yeah.
You would have, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what I want to get to, because you you have almost an adult right there. you know, she looks like your twin. Um, do you want her to go through the same path you went through? Like, no, right? Nobody wants that. And I know she doesn't want to, but she could fall in that trap, even though she's been through it, because of the simple fact this the statistics show that people who've gone through traumatic incidents continue to follow those paths because of the trauma. She might find a guy later in life that's just like your baby father and go through the same hell, maybe less, maybe more. I don't know. So it's important for you to understand your decisions.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that I regret my kids.
No, I'm not saying that.
Again, I didn't have guidance. I didn't have
Mhm.
somebody to, even the birth control. I didn't have the sex talk, like
Mhm.
it was guidance. And if I can be here for my daughter and tell her, hey, mama, you know, this is life. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is life. You know, take me as an example. I want you to be better than me. Encourage her to do and explore and expand her horizons way further than what I was able to. And if I'm going to be here, holding her hand, I want her to know that I do care. And no matter what happens in life, I'm always going to be here. And if we're going to be scared if we're going to be scared, we're going to be scared together. But
Beautiful.
this time, we're we're gonna conquer the world, and I know that she's gonna be able to do more than what I was able to accomplish. But it's never too late, you know.
No.
It's never
So,
too late.
so if you could turn back time, right, and do one one thing different or anything different, what would you have done different?
I would have uh, stood in school.
Okay.
I would have focused more on school than hangueando with with the friends and sneaking out and just doing things that I wasn't supposed to even be doing at my age. Um, I would have just focused on my school and probably finished college. Then I feel like that would have occupied me more than being in Chula with a boy.
You wouldn't have got him arrested?
Yeah, for sure.
Add that in.
For sure.
All
Yeah,
right.
I just the simple fact that I look at the good in people. I really
Yes, you
do. And
do.
that's sometimes it's most of the time is a downfall, you know? Um, but all the signs were there and I was just so well, I thought I was in love, you know? That's Stockholm syndrome. You're
Mhm,
it's a thing, you're in love with your abuser and you don't know
mhm.
how to not feel in love until you're isolated by yourself and you're trying to figure out what the fuck I dealt with all of that for nothing, you know? Like
Mhm.
had I loved me more, um I wouldn't have put myself through that, so it's yeah, the beginning of it would have been he would have been locked up for
Okay.
sure.
So let's get let's go to that bathroom talk, that infamous bathroom talk. All right, Jaylani, you found the bravery to say something because you felt safe with your moms at the time, right?
Mhm.
And you let her know, hey, let's go to the bathroom. She already understands what that cue is. And you're like, let's go to the bathroom. And you decide to talk to her. And I'm guessing this bathroom thing is a personal thing between you and moms, right?
Mhm.
How did you feel? Because I kind of looked at it negatively, but I understood what your mom was trying to do. But again, it was kind of like she meant well, but it was just a poor decision. But that decision will only matter on how you take it. How did you feel when she wanted to bring in other people to that private one-on-one conversation in the bathroom with you and her to discuss, or for you to tell this extremely embarrassing and hurtful information about your father? Did that kind of hurt your feelings that she added two more people instead of just you and her?
Not really, but
Good.
at first I was like scared to like see how they would react to the information.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I've known them for like so long since I was little, so I felt comfortable telling them.
Okay. And this is why I had to question this decision, because it had to matter on how you was taking it. Because I mean, there could have been another child who just didn't feel comfortable or just didn't like the idea, and like, wow, this is between you and me. I don't want to tell anybody. Then her bringing those two people is a bad decision. But because you feel comfortable and you knew them and you was okay telling them, it's not a bad decision. So I will take that back. I was just a little bit, I I know she means well, but I don't think this is right now. As I'm listening to the podcast. So, and I really wanted to know how you felt on that. Like, did you feel like she was violating this personal space between you two?
I felt like when I did that was more of the I already know how he works. I already know that it's my word against his.
Mhm.
Y como siempre me hace la loca, and que él no rompe un plato en la bandeja. I knew he was gonna make it seem like it's just a claim, or that I coerced her to say that. He's That's what a narcissist does. They try to flip it on somebody else when the spotlight's on them. So um, I already knew that it was gonna be where there's possibility of him threatening her. There's different possibilities. I felt like if he was gonna threaten her after she came forward, then she would have backed out. I look like the loca in front of everybody because her words might change, or like I for them to say, oh, she's the one that made her do it, she's forcing her to say it. No, I have more witnesses that are willing to testify, to um basically tell her story. And my sister, me and her are really, really close. And you know she's for her to hear that, she it was like a whole level of betrayal.
And I get it. I understand the reason behind why you did it. I'm just questioning it. I was questioning it because, for example, like when you did decide going to the police, and they bring the child uh interviewers for the kids, right?
The
And the
forensic
reason
interview.
the reason why they do that is because they don't want to make the kid feel violated, because once you do that, they don't trust you. So, I just wanted to make sure that she didn't feel that when you was doing that with your boyfriend at the time and your sister, because I mean
Yeah.
she pulled you to the bathroom, not
Yeah.
them. But she was okay with it, so it worked. But in other cases, sometimes it doesn't work.
Wouldn't. Yeah.
That's why I was bringing that up.
um
You know,
Her relationship with my sister is very strong. It's like me and my sister are the same person. So when like Jaylanie knew that my sister was there, it made her feel comfortable to speak up.
okay, okay, cool, good. So, Jelani, how do you feel listening to your mom answer some of these questions? I know they were kind of tough, right?
Um, yeah, a little bit, but I mostly know her story, so like I know like stuff she might answer to.
Mhm. And it doesn't. You don't feel uncomfortable hearing some of the stuff that she has to say, right?
After everything happened, I was very transparent to her, and
Mhm.
um I just remind her, that it's not her fault, and you can't trust everyone as much as you would like to trust them. Um, there's always people that pretend to be somebody that they're not. So she always has to keep her, her guard up. Not saying it in a negative way, but to just know that it could be the closest one to you. So she has to, you know,
Be
not commit
careful.
the same mistakes that I did. You know.
Yeah, gotcha. So, um, I'm trying to figure out how to question this. um, in the podcast, he was talking about when you first got pregnant and your mother was telling you about the abortion, or arresting him, whatever, and you was like, no, you fought back and you was like, this is my doing, I'm gonna pay the consequences, this and that, blah blah. You remember, right? So so with that being said, right, those consequences that you were gonna face, they did past you and trickle down to your daughter and your son. how how do you make this up to them? Like, what is your process now to let them know that, you know, whatever I did, I know it did fall on you guys, and I'm not gonna let that happen again.
I would say being more involved. Um, I went from not seeing them or seeing them every so often to, you know, I do everything with them. I'm always with them every day, all day, like whatever my daughter comes and hangs out in the room with me, my sons, we all hang out together, watch movies where, I walk my son to school. Um, we're always doing things together. She likes TikTok, so, she's we're always together doing funny, silly stuff. Um, it's just making up that time, and having them uh, gain my trust because también, they had them believing that, I didn't love them and that I left them. And it's taken a long time for me to, regain their trust and for them to know that they're safe, you know, just relearning everything together at, at a step at a time. Um, but most importantly, just being there and knowing and showing them that I love them and they're not just words, it's actions behind it too.
Okay. So, Jelani, this this is a very important question for you. Okay, I hope you're ready. How did you feel when TikTok went down?
um, I started crying to my mom, and then I kept like pressing on TikTok to see if it would work, and then um, I went to my mom and I told her like, "What am I going to do now?" She's like, "I guess you're gonna have
Se va a morir.
Yeah, she was. Um, and then she comes yesterday in the room. She's like, "Mom, they brought TikTok back." Super happy because
How
she was
did you feel when TikTok came back?
I was really happy. Yeah,
gonna.
I was like happy because like I had all my videos back up.
Yeah,
I've never used the thing, so I don't even know how it works. So,
but ella le
all right.
gusta like lip sync and stuff. So
Oh. All right, cool. This is my last question, right? This is both of you can answer if you want. How how has social media responded to you towards this? Like, I know you've got some positive feedback because obviously from the picture of him, you've gotten information. But what are some of the negative feedbacks you get?
um, well, I didn't relay this to her, but like most of them were saying that I failed her, failed my children. Some people said that I knew him from the beginning. Some people were saying that, um, they didn't understand about domestic violence. Like some of them probably didn't experience it or may never experience it. Who knows? They just weren't very empathetic. And
Yeah,
a lot of people, you can tell that they brush it under the rug. Um, a lot of people, they blame the mother.
yes,
Um, but like nonetheless, um, even though I seen the negative, I'm like, shit, I went through way worse than seeing these comments. Like, I done felt pain and, you know, seeing the light across the tunnel and actually getting to experience my light, I wouldn't, it doesn't bother me anymore. I could be the biggest puta, I could be the worst mom in the world. I mean, until you put yourself in my shoes and deal with what I had to deal with, that doesn't matter to me. They're just words. Um, did I feel kind of hurt at the beginning? I was like, yeah, but I know that that was going to be a possibility once I said my story out. Because you always get good and you always get bad, especially in social media. But the love that I felt, you know, for even my daughter and my son, that outweighed all the the negativity. You know, it took somebody 2 seconds to share my daughter's story, and I wouldn't give that up for anything. At least somebody gets to hear the story, and even if somebody were to run across him, it would tell them to like stay away. Um, but I it didn't bother me. The bad
Good.
comments, it didn't bother me because I've been told worse.
Okay. Alright. So, would you like to say something for everybody, Jaylanie?
Um, way before she posted my story on social media, I tried to share my story, but I never gotten any hate about it. I've
Okay, good.
actually had people come to me and say like they've gone through the same thing, and like there's a lot of people supporting me. Um, but yeah.
So, what would you want to tell those people who are going through something or similar to what you went through? What do you want to tell them to fight to fight through that?
Um, I would just say like to be like not to be scared to like share their story and to speak up, because if they don't, it might go worse. And like yeah, just not like to not be scared and like to speak.
And Doris, any final thoughts?
Um, I just want, the story to be um a story where, other kids can hear it and, not be afraid. That's the problem with this story. It's being afraid. And then when you're not afraid and you're ready to like take the bull by its horns, you don't see that it wasn't as scary as you thought it was. Um, I'm happy that she spoke out. I'm happy that um, it didn't further things with my son, um, with her as well, and we're just on the journey of healing and, self love and, you know, positivity because it can get dark sometimes, but we're working through that.
Well, I want to thank you, Jaylanie, for being brave and sharing your story. I know it's quite difficult to talk about it and to relive it, and I apologize. But people need to hear it because this can happen to almost anyone. A lot of people think that it can't happen to them until they're in this situation, you know? So I'm happy that you was able to come to the podcast and tell your story. I thank you two ladies very much. Anyone else who is going through this, please don't let the fear drive you. Please speak up, say something, tell someone, find someone.
At
Thank you
least
very
one
much.
person.
Yeah, at least one person. Thank you very much for listening to us. Follow me on Spotify, Iheart Radio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and I will see you. Thank you, ladies. Have a good one.
Here's one. Thank you.